About a year ago, I made a video on whether or not Sega should remake the Sonic Heroes game from 2003. And like 6 months ago, I had made a video about rumors of a possible remake of Sonic Heroes, and apparently, Sonic Heroes has been in the headlines as of late because there are rumors concerning the fact that it might be remade or we might get a sequel for Sonic Heroes sometime in 2025. And this is news that was shared by a leaker of Sonic news, and he's been responsible for leaking like news in regard to Sonic the Hedgehog video games in the past. And I'm gonna keep his name, private and all, but it's very likely we're going to get a new like Sonic Heroes themed game sometime in autumn of next year. And the reason I say that is because it's a title that has been under construction since 2023, and obviously Sega has done everything they could to keep that whole project in the dark. But Sonic Heroes, I feel like, is one of Sega's more underrated 3D Sonic games of the past because, Sonic Adventure 2 was like one of the best 3D games that we've ever gotten. Heroes came like right after that. I think that came out in like the latter part of '03 and in some countries in the early part of '04. And then we got Sonic Colors around like 2010, which was actually a pretty good game. And if you look at the sales numbers for each of those games, it goes like this. Sonic Heroes did like 4.5 mil. It did somewhere over 4.5 mil. And I think Sonic Colors did over like 4 mil. Sonic Adventure 2 is something that I'm not entirely like sure of, but I'm pretty sure that it did really well because Sonic Adventure 2 came out on Dreamcast and also came out on GameCube. Um, I believe 2001 was the last time Dreamcast was sold in retail, and GameCube was obviously a commercial failure. So Sonic Adventure 2 didn't have the type of success that it deserved, but it was definitely one of the better entries within the entire series. And I'm kind of afraid that a lot of people may have forgotten about Sonic Heroes at this point, with the exception of like, diehard hardcore fans of the Sonic series. And pretty much with like Sonic Heroes, you get to control a team of three characters. And in the original one, you had Team Sonic, Team Dark, Team Amy, and Team Chaotix. I have no idea if we're getting a sequel, Sega's going to try and recreate that dynamic, or whether or not we're just going to get a simple remake of that title. Either way, it sounds like very exciting news. And if it is going to be a remake that we're going to get from Sega, I feel like this is something that should have been done a while back. In fact, Sega probably could have did this last year, considering the fact that last year would have been the 20-year anniversary of Sonic Heroes. But I digress with that. But a lot of people are excited about the fact that Sonic Heroes could potentially be making a return. And it's another game that, features Shadow. And we do know that Sega is trying to revive Shadow's popularity because they destroyed it with the Shadow the Hedgehog game when they gave him the gun because he was the Black Hedgehog and, all that nonsense. But, Sega's clearly trying to make amends and they know that they can't rely on Sonic, forever. Um, so yeah, I feel like Sonic Heroes might be one of many 3D Sonic games that's going to get remade. Um, Sega could remake games like Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic Unleashed. Even though those games weren't nearly as good, they still did pretty like decent in terms of sales. I think Sonic and the Secret Rings did like 3 million sales, and Sonic Unleashed did like more than 2.4 million sales. But the 2000s in general is kind of a dark period for like the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, at least the second half of the decade, because Sonic wasn't as mainstream as he was during the 90s and the early 2000s. And Sonic's obviously been gaining a mainstream appeal within the past couple of years with the release of the two movies. We got a third Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming up in December. And, we got the Sonic, Generations game, the Sonic Shadows Generations game that's supposed to be coming out as well. So it seems like Sonic's popularity has, been revived, because I feel like the 2000s or the second half of the 2000s was a dark era. Most of the teens has been, pretty much a dark time for the Sonic franchise up until 2017 when Sonic Mania came out. But yeah, it's cool to see that Sega's remaking and remastering older like Sonic games, and it's something that Nintendo doesn't do too often, and I do feel that Sega for the most part have to do whatever they can to try and reach out to casuals and at the same time bring back lapsed fans of their older games and all that stuff. And yeah, as far as Sonic Heroes, returning in 2025 is concerned, I'm pretty excited about it. I'd like to know more about what to expect from this potential remake or sequel, but just like everyone else, I'm going to have to wait and see what details are going to emerge about this project between now and next fall for of 2025.